Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about a massive development on Stellar and how the likes of the IMF could utilize Stellar. So a lot of you may be aware that the Stellar team actually tweeted details about the Stellar Development Foundation being set to drop big news in 10 days. So I thought it would be quite interesting to see what this development could be and how this could impact the Stellar network and XLM token holders. So firstly, I'd like to make you aware of a following tweet I came across provided by STZU on Twitter, where he actually noted how the announcement the Stellar team are set to make us aware of is on the same day as the G20's New Delhi summit, where during the summit individuals from the IMF and other bodies are set to discuss details about how global regulation of crypto should be enforced and how this could affect the wider industry. So before we talk about that news story, I'd like to show you a clip which features a panel of individuals as well as a representative from Circle going into detail and providing insights about financial developments across the world and how the financial system and developments are changing over time, including how CBDCs and stablecoins will become more widely incorporated and desired for financial activities and developments for years to come. Where again, during this discussion, a member of Circle actually detailed too how the likes of CBDCs and stablecoins will become increasingly integrated into financial activities and developments for a number of nations around the world.
Support charge throughout the whole process. So
good. Yeah.
Can I say one thing? I think the panel would be incomplete if we don't have some debate. So can I talk about CBDCs for just one minute? So at Circle, we don't think CBDCs are inevitable, but we do know that 95% of the world's GDP is looking at a CBDC. And in the U.S., I agree with you. I don't think we're anywhere close. And I think that there's a lot of privacy issues and other issues that will ultimately probably prevent one, maybe a wholesale one. But the way we think about it is that, like, the FAA doesn't make jet engines, right? They set really high standards, and then they let Boeing and Lockheed and others compete. Frankly, if the FAA made my jet engine, I would drive everywhere. But we do think there could be like a role. Nellie Liang recently talked about a CBDC as potentially a backing mechanism for a stablecoin, so part of the reserves. So interesting discussions. I frankly doubt that the world is going to have one currency to rule them all. I think Facebook tried that and it was spit out and rejected pretty strongly. Now, that was a huge tech organization, so I understand that.
The difference between Facebook and us is Daryl Hubbard. So I advised Facebook. I won't mention the names there. I told them 3 years in advance that project would fail. And I emailed them 3 years ago and said, I explained to you why it would fail, and this is the reason why it didn't work. But we understand. I've been working with central banks for 10 years. We understand the difference. So we built digital currency from the ground up for banking. We're nothing like Bitcoin. We're nothing like Stellar. Yeah. We're nothing like the stable coins. So we imagine how crypto should work for the banking industry. In CBDCs, I agree, I don't think has a bright future, but what we introduced is an international CBDCs.
So as detailed in the previous clip, CBDCs and stablecoin infrastructure will become increasingly more necessitous and important for activities surrounding financial developments across the world. So the initial tweet that actually brought me to this video actually mentioned as to how the IMF and the FSB are coming together with news of stablecoin and CBDC developments and news stories, where the FSB, the Financial Stability Board, have actually written and provided a document which goes into detail surrounding global regulatory framework for crypto asset activities. So the actual paper goes into detail and provides insights in regards to their recommendations, where their recommendations include constituting a regulatory and supervisory framework for crypto assets and stablecoins, will provide input to a joint paper with the IMF to be delivered to the G20 in September 2023. So the paper being brought together and being written by the IMF and the FSB could be highlighted in the G20 meeting, which is set to occur in New Delhi in September. So this could potentially be in conjunction with the Stellar team set to provide an announcement, which coincidentally is on the same day as the G20 meeting. So this all may be linked to stablecoin developments. So Stellar is actually at the center of a number of stablecoin developments and is the most widely used network for stablecoin utility, where Stellar is one of few crypto networks which provide Circle's USDC stablecoin. And as I previously mentioned, the Stellar network is the most widely used network for USDC transactions and authorization, which puts it ahead over the likes of the Hedera network, Ethereum, and a lot more networks that provide USDC. So the provisioning and the active utility of USDC on Stellar comes with a number of benefits in terms of it being and enabling near instantaneous payments, low cost cross-border payments, fiat on-off ramping, and bulk payment disbursements, where all of these innate qualities provided by the Stellar network means that the ability for assets in the form of USDC can be sent between varying bodies, again through the utility of Stellar, more seamlessly and actively, and a lot more cost effectively compared to traditional infrastructure and services. For example, services and infrastructure provided by the likes of Swift, for example. So it goes to show how widely utilized Stellar's network is already, and how the benefits and the already widely utilized infrastructure Stellar is equipped with could be incorporated and utilized into other developments and initiatives, most notably cross-border payments and the likes of the IMF and other major financial bodies choosing to incorporate and leverage Stellar's use cases for stablecoin protocols, where Stellar's highly attractive features in terms of its stablecoin utility all comes back to its partnerships, where Stellar is at the center of being used by one of the largest payment and remittance pathways in the world, MoneyGram, where MoneyGram actually leverages a private variant of the Stellar network, where upon the private variant of the Stellar network, USDC is provided. So MoneyGram can allow for assets to be exchanged between varying bodies through the private variant of Stellar, and in turn USDC, at faster rates and a lot cheaper as compared to their traditional infrastructure and services. So this is the main reason as to why Stellar could become a centerpiece in stablecoin developments and initiatives. And this also comes back to an article published by the IMF, where the IMF actually detailed to the importance of stablecoins. So the G20 meeting in September could be centered around, well, we know the meeting will be referencing to crypto, and they may discuss stablecoin utility, and Stellar could be at the center of this discussion. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, and it's not too long now before Stellar discloses further information, so it's just a waiting game at the moment. So as I mentioned, the G20 are set to come together in India for its yearly summit, and the article provided by Reuters actually details as to how this development will see the likes of the IMF and other financial bodies discussing cryptocurrency and the regulation of cryptocurrency and the utility of DLT innovations for financial activities and infrastructure as time progresses and over the long run. So it will be interesting to see what happens during this event and whether Stellar will be discussed. So as well as Stellar being at the center of stablecoin utility, as indicated here, where again Stellar is one of few projects that provide the USDC stablecoin, Stellar is also at the center of other financial infrastructure and use cases, most notably surrounding CBDC developments, where Stellar is actually at the center of building CBDCs for a number of nations. Well, at the moment we know there's 2 nations which are collaborating with the Stellar Development Foundation, most notably the Ukrainian and the Brazilian Central Bank. So Stellar is already at the center of so many exciting financial initiatives and developments, and it'll be interesting to see whether Stellar is incorporated and utilized into more financial activities, and whether Stellar's use cases can be used for protocols surrounding stablecoins and even CBDCs. But again, time will tell, and it'll be interesting to see the announcement Stellar is set to voice over the next few days. What are your thoughts on Stellar? What do you think the Stellar Development Foundation will announce in a few days' time? Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching, Crypto Clan. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click on the notification bell. Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next video.